Now, our top story this morning, HS2 needs a rethink because the project has fundamental flaws with costs that appear to be out of control. That's the verdict in a damning report that's being released by the House of Lords today, with the suggestion that commuter services in the north of the country should really be the priority. While phase 1 of the high-speed rail scheme will cut through our patch, Warwickshire, in order to link London with Birmingham, and preparation work is already underway. But for those of you who may have forgotten what HS2 is all about, well, here's our reporter, Catherine Beecham.
Welcome aboard our short journey of the high-speed rail timeline. Back in 2009, plans for HS2 were announced by the then Labour government. These were then split into 2 phases, one from London to Birmingham and the other from Birmingham to Leeds and Manchester. It was then given the go-ahead by Justine Greening, the Secretary of State for Transport, back in 2012.
A modern, fast, reliable railway that will transform connections between our cities, regions and continent and change the way we travel, just as the first railway did in the 19th century.
However, between then and 2017, there have been property and landowners, along with thousands of petitions seeking amendments to the bill due to HS2's effects on them and the environment.
More doubt is being cast tonight on the cost of HS2.
Residents in Buckinghamshire are angry at the way they're being treated by HS2.
Londoners who could lose their homes to the multi-billion-pound high-speed rail link say they're being ignored by the government.
In 2017, it became law and phase 1 of construction is set to begin. 2026 is the expected time for the first phase to be completed, with the second not ready until 2033.
Catherine Beecham there. Well, she's been to Burton Green, where the line will pass through, to see exactly what preparation work is underway.
I've come for a short walk in the sun along the Connect to Kenilworth bridle path just outside Burton Green. This route is very popular with cyclists and runners, however it is also on the route for HS2 and preparation work is well and clearly underway. Just down the path, one of the fields has been sectioned out with wooden stakes running down both sides and into the fields beyond. This is where the HS2 line will be, and it goes straight over the main walkway. I bumped into some local dog walkers and I asked them about how this route has impacted them and their local area.
The problem with HS2 is it's predicated on the presumption that there needs to be a link from London to the Midlands to the north. But there's no clear evidence to prove that that's beneficial to the Midlands or to the north. Most of the academic research that's been done into the subject demonstrates clearly that it's not the provincial towns that benefit, it's the capital that benefits. And I think that's going to be the case with HS2. Why the government doesn't look at taking the 100 billion plus that it will cost and reallocating that to either regions or even more locally to improve local transport is a much better strategy.
I just feel that there's been an awful lot of money spent locally. You know, one wonders whether ultimately the whole thing is going to come to some fruition. And we've seen masses of the local landscape just totally spoiled. And I know locally it's going to go through ancient woodland. And this all affects how you feel about where you live, actually. And a lot of people are significantly affected, but it doesn't actually personally affect us in terms of transport. I mean, we've got a very good local station that we can get into Birmingham, we can get into London, and we will not get the benefit of it from living where we live.
You've got a huge swathe cutting through here, as we understand it. This is the route, and you build any major infrastructure program like this, and there's going to be winners and losers. And I have serious question marks about the amount of money that they say they're going to spend.
Let's get the views now from Joe Rukin, campaign manager of Stop HS2. Morning to you, Joe.
Morning, Trish.
I suppose this report will be music to your ears.
Well, they're saying pretty much what every single independent report into HS2 has ever said, that it can't be delivered on time, on budget, it can't be delivered to scope, it'll be, a massive financial black hole, and it won't deliver on its promises. This idea that it's a magic wand to rebalance the economy and cure the north-south divide, it's just rubbish. It's going to drag more economic activity to London. It's always been about London. And, of course, it's been lobbied for by the people who want to make money out of building it.
Well, to be fair, when it comes to this sort of huge infrastructure, the Channel Tunnel opened 25 years ago. Its estimated cost overrun by 80%. But, that's been an essential infrastructure serving this country for the next century or more.
Yeah, that's totally the wrong sort of comparison to make, because the thing is, with the Channel Tunnel, there wasn't a railway line under the sea before. With HS2, it is simply duplicating what already exists. So you will deliver some capacity, because it's obviously impossible to build a new railway without delivering some capacity, but this is one of the main things about the report. About the only argument that stands up with HS2 is capacity, and the Lords have said it's not going to deliver the capacity that's promised.
Can you not see any benefits with HS2 at all?
I can see a lot of people making a lot of money out of it, but the problem is with HS2 is there was never an assessment of what Britain's transport infrastructure needs. It was just HS2, we got a load of people lobbying for it, let's build it.
But we've got the preparation out, Joe, now. They've got the college there. Preparation. No, let me laugh. But, there's so much already in place. To turn back now would be really detrimental, wouldn't it?
No. Well, I'm laughing because the college announced like 2 weeks ago that they're dropping the name High Speed Rail from their title. And last year they had about 90 students over 2 sites in Doncaster and Birmingham. So the idea that the college is some great paragon of why HS2 is a great idea.
In terms of, the future generation, getting the future engineers, working on this, all the jobs that are coming in. We're hearing this morning in many of the papers that £92 billion is the projected economic benefit of HS2 to businesses.
No,
that's from the Department of Transport.
I know, and it's completely made up. The thing is, that depends.
No, you can't say that, can you?
No, I can say that because I can say that because if you let me explain how they've got to that figure, they've basically said that all time on trains is wasted. You can put a cash value on the time saved, multiply it by a grossly inflated passenger forecast. Say that everyone on the train earns about 70 grand a year, and hey presto, that's £44 billion worth of economic benefits. The whole case has been made up, and the thing is, so far you've wasted about £5 billion over the last 9 years. We're now at the sharp end where if it gets notice to proceed, and it hasn't got notice to proceed yet, it was meant to get sign off on the final contracts last November. It's now been delayed to December. If it gets that, you'd be blowing about £5 billion a year for 20 years. It'll be a monument to profligacy at a time of austerity.
Okay, well, let's get this right, because this report doesn't say there isn't a need for HS2. It raises concerns that the North may never get to really benefit from the project. And as we spoke to Sim Harris earlier, these House of Lords, this committee, were never, ever wanting HS2 in the first place. So it's no surprise that they're coming on with these statistics and findings this morning.
Well, it's no surprise that a body that is set up purely to make sure that the country doesn't spend money, waste money on things that aren't needed, has said that HS2 isn't needed, just like the Public Accounts Committee did, just like the National Audit Office have done. Every single independent report that has looked into HS2 has raised exactly these concerns. Hell, even the former chairman of HS2, Terry Morgan, appeared at the committee and said, nobody knows what's going to cost. That's what the chairman of the project said. No one knows what it's going to cost.
Well,
and
it's not stopping. It is, it's not. It's not hitting the buffers yet. It looks like it's underway.
Well, no, this is the thing.
Well,
what they're doing now, the preparation work started, but say they haven't got notice to proceed, so they can't sign off on the final contracts yet. And looking at the Tory leadership, it's basically a prerequisite. If you want to be next leader of the Tory party, you're saying that you're going to cancel HS2. And with good reason, because look at the local election results a fortnight ago. Like, I'm from Kenilworth. Kenilworth Town Council, for almost my entire life, has been 100% Conservative. It was, a big deal a couple of years ago when a couple of Lib Dems got on. As of a fortnight ago, the Green Party are the biggest party on Kenilworth Town Council, and that is going to be repeated when it comes to parliamentary elections up and down the line. The leader of the district council, who lost his seat, said the only thing that people were talking about, HS2 and Brexit, and it is going to kick the Tories in the backside, or whoever.
We're getting slightly off track, but in a nutshell, you're very determined. Obviously, you've been the campaign manager to stop HS2. Do you think you will achieve your aim of stopping it?
I think it is now HS2 is now more likely of being cancelled than any time over the last 9 years. And it's because we are now at that sharp end where they have to sign off, they have to commit to say, we're going to waste this money or we're not going to waste this money. And if the chairman is saying it can't be delivered on time, on budget and on scope, it's got to go.